Recording.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. As you all know, this is a group for those who are struggling with anger. And this is our fourth session, so you guys have kind of gotten to know each other at this point, and I hope you're getting more and more comfortable with one another. But if not, today we can try to work on that a little bit. Before we get started though, I would like to do just a quick exercise with you guys. I know we've done it before, so you all kind of know how, but we're going to do a breathing exercise really quickly just so we can all calm down before we get started. So if everyone could put their hands on their stomach again, and you're welcome to close your eyes, but you don't have to. And again, when you inhale, your stomach should blow up like a balloon, and when you exhale, it should deflate. So we're going to just do 5 of those real quick. Ready? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Alright, well I hope that helped to just calm you guys down a little bit. I am going to go around and check your comfort levels like we do every week, just to see how comfortable you are with each other in the group setting. So again, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most uncomfortable you've ever been, 1 being the most comfortable, where do you fall on that scale? So Kristen, if we could start with you and we'll work our way around to Amy.
I'm about at a 5 today.
5? Okay,
Yeah.
That's better than previous weeks, so good.
Yeah. I'm about a 6.
A 6? Alright, well, hopefully throughout it we can maybe get your comfort level down, or to a lower number.
I think today, I would say a 4 today.
A 4. Okay, that's much lower than you have been in the past, so
Yeah.
good. I'm glad you're getting a little more comfortable here and with everyone. Amy?
Wait, what numbers are the more comfortable?
Correct.
Okay, so like a 3.
A 3? Awesome. Well, good. I'm glad you're getting more comfortable as we go forward. And again, I'll ask you guys at the end so we can check if it got lower or higher, so we know what to work on next week. Again, I'd like to clarify with you guys what my role is. I am simply the facilitator. I'm here to ask you guys some questions to get you guys talking. I'm not your individual therapist. Again, if you feel like that's something you need, we can talk afterward about scheduling an appointment for an individual session. But while you're here, it would be wonderful if you guys could talk to each other. That means making eye contact with each other and not necessarily just focused on me completely. So I know at some points you will be, but for the majority of the time, if you could look at each other. So today I'd like to get us started by doing an activity, and I gave you guys a piece of paper, so if you could write down, actually, no, we're going to start with this one. It's called a miracle question, and this is one of my favorite activities because it helps you guys decide really what your hope is in kind of a different way of just asking what is your hope for this group. So this miracle question is, if you woke up one morning and the whole reason why you're coming to group therapy was completely solved, how would you know, and what would be different? So what would be different enough that you could tell that it was solved? So obviously you guys are here for anger, but how would it look different for you? If you want, you can write that down, and then, or you can take a minute to think, and then we'll go around and share our answers. Is anyone ready? Would they like to share?
I can share.
Yeah, go ahead.
If I woke up tomorrow and things would be different, I would not get angry at my partner anymore for some things he does. You know, like maybe not putting the dishes away from the dishwasher, or forgetting something on the grocery list, or, you know, if we get in a fight, I wouldn't completely explode and throw things at him, you know, like
Okay.
I wouldn't do those things anymore.
Yeah. And how often do those things happen?
Well, before I started the group, it'd be like a daily thing. Since we've been here for a few times now, it's, you know, like 4 times a week now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think needs to happen for this to be solved? For you not to throw things at him, get angry at him for the dishes and things like that?
I guess, I mean, keep coming to the group and keep learning. You know, obviously this is helping me in some ways, so I, you know, just gotta keep doing that.
Good. And that's really encouraging to hear because this is only our 4th session and we still have plenty of sessions to go. So the fact that you're already seeing some form of a change is really good. And I'd love for you to continue sharing later on in future sessions on how you've seen improvement in those areas. So thank you for sharing, Natalie. Would anyone else like to share?
I don't know if this would make sense or not, but if I would know that it was taken care of, it's kind of out of my control, but when I could see my grandchildren not be afraid to go to school because that person or those persons that have really made their life hell, they wouldn't be afraid anymore because it would be taken care of. So.
And that is a difficult situation because it is out of your control. And, you know, we can't always control other people's actions, especially at your grandchildren's school. So what do you think a small step could be in seeing a change in that? Obviously, you can't change the person who is bullying's behavior. But what do you think you could do just as a small step to help maybe your grandchildren or to help your anger of the situation?
Well, I could try to be calmer and not get so anxious about it whenever they even say something, so they wouldn't be afraid to tell me about it, for one thing. And another thing would be is be halfway calm and go in and even speak with the teacher, or just to see if there could be, if we could come up with some kind of a plan that would help.
Okay, I really like what you said about being able to calm yourself down so that they're not afraid to even tell you about it. Because sometimes I think that anger can really affect our relationships, even if we're only angry for that person and not just angry with everyone in the world. Has anyone else ever felt anger that affected your relationship so much that people were scared to tell you things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're not the only one who's felt this way. But I do like that idea, and maybe taking that small step and just taking time to deep breathe as they're telling you, so that way you can appear calm to them and maybe even feel calm, so that in future, instances they'll feel comfortable. Would anyone else like to answer the miracle question?
Hello.
Go ahead, Amy.
Okay, so if we woke up and it was fixed.
Yeah.
Well, I would know that it's fixed if my grandmother didn't live with us anymore.
Okay.
I'd feel a lot more comfortable walking around my own house. My dad would want to come home more.
Okay.
I probably wouldn't stay in my room as much as I do, so.
All right. So those seem like very unique situations, specific to you. But the coming out of your room more is something that maybe, I don't know if any of you could relate to, but sometimes anger can make us either blow up on people or internalize it. And, isolating oneself is sometimes a way of internalizing it. Do you think that's that's something that you do?
Part of the time, yeah. Other than that, it just makes me angry, and it's more of like having thoughts about going off on that person and just telling them to leave, because I can't deal with it, and I don't know why no one else says
Yeah.
anything. So
Well, thank you for sharing that. That sounds like a very personal issue going on, and sometimes controlling our thoughts is the hardest, but it can make one of the biggest impacts. So thank you for sharing that. Kristen, would you like to share?
I mean, I didn't really think about it very much just because, I don't know, my mom keeps making me come to these meetings, and I mean, I understand what people are saying, but I don't know.
Okay, well, if your mom has a concern for you coming here, and obviously you are coming to a group about anger, so I'm not sure how we can help you if you don't know what you can be helped with. So is there anything that you could think of that would be helpful to you that we can do?
I mean, it's nice just to listen to what people are saying, but I mean, thinking about like the positive, it's really hard to do that, especially right now.
Yeah. Thinking of, as Amy was saying, I mean, thinking of, not all those negative thoughts is something very difficult to do, but I think in a group setting, you can, one, realize that you're not the only one who can't really change those thoughts. You can, you may not be able to yet, but yeah, listening to your fellow group members, I mean, what they're saying is real. It's their lives. So if it helps to listen a little bit for now, I hope that can be of some help to you.
Yeah, I think so.
And maybe eventually you will be able to express those expectations for the group, or what your miracle day would look like.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you guys for sharing. I know that's not always the easiest thing to do, but as we've gone along through this group, I think you guys have done a really good job of opening up. Slowly for some, it's not as difficult for others, but I really appreciate it. And I think it can be an encouragement to each group member as you do begin to really open up. So right now, I'd like for you guys to get in your little partners. I know you've used these partners before, but we've kind of rotated, so you've had a chance to speak to everyone. And we are going to do another little activity. This one you'll do on your own first, and then I want you to discuss it with your partner, but I want you to write it down so you can remember it. And then we'll discuss it as a group. But if you could write down in one sentence or two a definition of your anger, what your anger looks like to you. And then I want you to write one or two ideas of how you can change it. And if not, why not? Why can't you change it? Does anyone have any questions about that?
can it be like, does it have to be a sentence? Like, can it be a word or?
Yeah, it can be whatever you want it to be, just not a paragraph. That's why I was giving you that limit of one sentence or two, but you can have bullet points or. And if anyone needs me to repeat that, I can.
I'm sorry, what was the second part of it after we wrote down what the anger was?
An idea of how you could change it, and if you can't think of an idea, why not?
And then we talk about it with our partners.
Yes. Once you're finished, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about it, and then we'll discuss it as a group.
I'm done.
Almost done with yours. I've got my first one, I don't know the second part, it was good. So, what's your anger look like, or what do you feel about it?
How do you go
Okay, mine is like a big, huge black cloud just hanging right over me. And to try to, the idea, I don't know some way I need to move that black cloud because it just kind
I
of
put
makes
my anger
everything
is
look that
sporadic
way.
and I want to- And then to how to fix it is just
To
find a
try to
cause that-
maybe
I don't even know.
find a
what
way where
sets
I
me
can
off.
think
I
of
just-
it in a different,
It just happens
aspect.
sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't.
and then because it kind of just hangs over me no matter what I do, where I go, and I'd like to at least make it go away.
It's like what
So I don't
caused
know how.
that to-
I guess mine would
And
be, I
people
don't
are
know
afraid
how
to
to
be
do
around
it.
me because they don't know
What's
what causes
yours?
my anger. I don't know what
Um,
causes my anger, and it's like
Well, it's a lot of frustration.
my mom to like
And-
not be around me, but since
As bad as it sounds, like hatred, I think, and then resentment. Because we've all,
yeah.
it sounds awful, but we've all said that, but we kind of just wish she'd pass away because our problems would be gone. The only way I can think to fix it is like, which has worked a little bit, but it's still like there, so it's not really helping, is to not talk about it or listen to it. And sometimes it comes out angry, like at my mom, because I don't want to talk about it because it just makes me mad. So that, but it's just been 20 years
No, you should
in the making, so it's like that resentment's definitely there. I just don't want to deal with it, I guess. And I just wish she was gone.
You can't see it now. Unless you
Yeah.
Alright, has everyone had an I'm sorry to interrupt. Has everyone had an opportunity? Natalie?
To do these types of things because it really helps with anger and stuff.
Yeah.
Natalie and Kristen, have you guys had a chance to discuss it? And are you ready to discuss it with the group?
Yeah.
Alright, I'm really glad you guys were able to open up to your partners. I know one-on-one time sometimes is awkward and uncomfortable, but you guys did really good with talking to each other. So, excuse me. So, would anyone like to go first of what they wrote down? And then if your partner had any suggestions on ideas of how you could change it, feel free to share those too. But how about Vanda? Would you like to get us started?
On what I wrote down,
Correct.
my anger.
And you can feel free to talk to your group members, not
Okay.
just me.
Okay.
Sorry.
My anger is like this big black cloud that just kind of follows me. Some days it's like a lot darker than others, and it just doesn't want to go away.
Okay.
And no matter where I'm at, it kind of just shadows everything that I'm doing. Even if it's something that in some days it's maybe a little lighter, but my idea to get rid of it is, I don't know how.
Okay. Well, sometimes just having an image of what your anger looks like to you, for some, having a picture of it can be more helpful than even describing it in words. So I'm glad you do have that imagery of it to picture it as a black cloud. And does anyone have any suggestions of how she could change that black cloud in her life, or sometimes a gray cloud?
I don't want to speak for Kristen, but when we were talking, she says that helping her would be if she found the cause of her anger. But I mean, it seems like you know what makes you angry, so I can see how that's not very helpful now that I said it. But I put for myself is that I would use coping skills from this class to help with my anger, because sometimes I do feel like there's a dark cloud over me. Like I can definitely relate to that, and it's awful. I don't know what to do about it.
Thank you for sharing that, Natalie. Definitely using coping skills is something that we want you guys to learn in this group. And I know you said it may not have been helpful, but knowing the root of your anger, and that's something that Kristen, you said she might still need to find, but you do know yours, and that's a step in the right direction, because sometimes we don't always know where our anger is boiling up from. So yeah, it is good that you know where it's coming from, but I think that's a great idea to practice some coping skills. So while we're on that, while we're talking about coping skills, do you know what that means? Do you know what a coping skill is?
Sucking it up and being quiet about it? I don't know.
No, that's a good guess. I just wanted to see if you had an understanding of it. But a coping skill is something that keeps you going. Most people have coping skills and they don't realize they do. Some are healthy, some are unhealthy. So for instance, an unhealthy coping skill for anger for someone might be alcohol and drinking. And obviously when you do that, what's the word I'm looking for? When you do that to an extreme, that's not a healthy coping skill. If it affects your life negatively, it's probably not a positive coping skill. So for some, exercise might be. That's definitely not one of mine. But for others, it could be taking a bath and relaxing, listening to calming music.
Oh,
So
that's
these,
one I like.
oh, good. Well, you can write that down. But these are things that we call in the therapeutic world coping skills. And as we progress, I hope that you are able to think of more healthy coping skills. Since you shared, would you like to share, Amy, being her partner?
Frustration, just irritating. Hate has come out of it, and resentment a lot. Just because it's been like 20 years
Yeah.
in the same house, and it's really, like, I just don't understand why no one's just kicked her out. Like, I thought about leaving letters. I thought about just straight up telling her because no one else will, and I'm not afraid of that. And if that tie is severed, I don't really care,
Yeah.
as bad as that is. And it's not like hate all the time, but it does come out, and I know it's not anger, it's just like hate.
Okay.
Like,
In your definition of it for you, it would be hate. Is that an accurate description?
Honestly, I'd say
And-
probably more the resentment route,
Okay.
but yeah, hate, I think, comes out of it every now and then.
I mean,
It's just hard to.
I think
back
hate
down.
can build up to resentment, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of hate can build up to that. So, were you able to list an idea of how you can change it? Or why not, if you couldn't?
Something I already do, but I don't know that it really helps. Like, in the moment it helps, but then when it comes back up, it's like, I just want to scream at somebody, is to not talk about it or listen to it. So sometimes when my mom wants to talk about issues like that, I just want to go in my room, not talk about it. I tell her not to talk about it because it just makes me mad.
Okay.
So,
And that's something you mentioned earlier too, was kind of the going into your room and the isolation of yourself. And has anyone else ever isolated themselves when they felt so angry that they didn't want to discuss it with anyone?
Yeah, I do. My isolation is just leave. Like, I'll go and do something else and go shopping. They have a new sale that's happening at Yankee Candle right now. So, like, that's kind of my way to, like, cope. But I do like candles.
Yeah, I was
totally
gonna say
love
candles can be
Yeah,
a coping
candles,
mechanism.
it is.
Yeah,
And then they have all kinds of flavors of candles. And so, like, that's my way to kind of, like, separate myself, is to go, get candles and
Yeah. So
line the
there
house with candles.
There
and-
definitely are different forms of isolation. Kristen, thank you for sharing yours. There are different forms of it. Just as long as it's not affecting you negatively. Sometimes we do need space to be alone. If that space doesn't help us, then maybe thinking of other ideas that can help us would be a nice new perspective. And maybe when they're talking about theirs, you can listen and see if it's something you would like to try.
How about candles? You could burn the house down and get her out. No.
That's probably not the best option.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm gonna do with my mom. My mom is so annoying, and that's what makes me angry. Is so.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
It's kind of like,
Using candles as a coping mechanism could be beneficial, and smelling them, but possibly, not burning down a home or hurting anyone. Because remember, I do have to report those things, so I am
I'm
a
sorry.
mandated reporter. But
Sorry.
Amy,
I
thank
was
you for sharing.
teasing.
I know that can be really difficult sometimes. Would either of you like to share?
Go ahead.
oh, I put my anger is sporadic and unwanted, just like what I mentioned with, and then they said finding the cause. of what my anger is. And so sometimes like I'll be completely fine and happy, and then all of a sudden I'm just angry, and it's just frustrating too because my family doesn't want to be around me because they don't know what like sets me off, and I don't even know what like makes me upset and angry either.
So it can affect those relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something we all talked about before, how it does, anger affects relationships, whether it's friendships, family, family bonds, and things like that. So, yeah, finding the root of your anger is something that I think it is a good idea for you to look into and dig a little deeper inside and see what's going on at the root of it. So, thank you, Kristen. Natalie, did you want to share?
Yeah, I put that my anger is explosive and tiring. I'm exhausted of being angry all the time, and it's crazy. And I had mentioned the coping skills, and when Kristen said that finding the cause, it just like really hit me, because I was like, I can't just be angry about my partner not putting the dishes away. That just seems like such a small thing. Like, what am I really angry about here? And so I've just been like thinking about that this entire time, and I don't know.
Well, I think it's wonderful that Kristen was able to highlight that in hers, because it helped you guys, you know, along the way realize that finding the root of our anger is important in the healing process and the calming process. But I really liked your description of it. Those are very descriptive words, explosive and tiring. Have any of you ever been so exhausted from your anger?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that can, you know, that doesn't only affect relationships, that affects your day-to-day life, how you work, how you go to school, how you, when you're tired, it's more difficult to accomplish tasks. So, yeah, thank you for sharing that, Natalie. I really think you guys are doing well with not only just opening up, but really digging a little deeper